as the sun, I feel what you don't say. Scorpio moon, I see through the gray. I'm tuned to your soul, I read the unseen. 8th house mind, 12th house dreams. Tarot in my hands, planets in my sight. I decode the dark, turn shadow to...
Hello, welcome. It's me, Danyell Carmelita, your favorite tarot reader and astrologer. I don't know if you can hear that, but there is major construction where I live, so I apologize if you can, but I don't think you can. I think this setup has it where you can't hear any craziness in the background, which is great, but not reality. Anyway, so I get easily distracted by that. But this week is going to be a very interesting one because things move fast and then we have some unpredictability. We are starting off with some powerful conversations and magnetic connections, but that is what we have with the full moon in Scorpio. Everything gets deeper, more intense, and way more real. I don't like when we have a full moon in Scorpio, and I'm a Cancer sun and I'm a Scorpio moon, and I'm like, this is too much. Okay, it's too intense. Anyway, right when you think things are moving fast and the conversation changes into Taurus energy, Mercury is also going to shift into the sign Taurus. We're also talking about that in this video. Towards the end of the week, we have Mars in Aries, that aggression, the war, the impatientness, squaring with Jupiter. We'll talk about that. So get ready for this week. I'm going to pull up the dates here. And why is my mouse not moving over here? Okay. Multiple windows open. Maybe I should have decluttered before I started this video. Anyway, so we start off with Venus is going to trine Pluto. And then on the 29th, we have Venus is going to square the North Node. And then May 1st is when we have the full moon in Scorpio. We also have Venus that's going to sextile Saturn during this full moon. We'll talk about that. May 2nd is when we have Mercury entering Taurus. Mercury is in charge of our trade, commerce, conversations, emails, technology, day-to-day travel. So get ready for that shift. And May 4th, we have Mars squaring Jupiter. Hello to everyone who is listening to this via podcast. Welcome. If you guys are watching this via YouTube or Twitch or X, welcome too. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. That helps me out. And this is a free service that I'm giving you, and I am consistent. I am here every week. I'm normally here on Mondays. Today is Tuesday. I decided to take a mental health day. You know, I have that blessing. I have that right. And I say, you know what? I'm going to come on tomorrow. I'm just going to chill today. So that happened. Nothing big, just me, just chilling. But I am here today. Since I'm here, please give me my flowers. If you write a comment, if you thumbs up, that just helps me out so much. If you are listening to this via podcast, then go ahead and download and share this episode. Okay. Now, let's get started and show. If you are listening, I'm going to explain what we are seeing far as the transits of this week. We are going to start off. Today is Tuesday. I am filming this live unedited. And on Tuesday, we have Venus in Gemini sitting next to Uranus. Okay, it's separating, but it's still sitting next to Uranus. And now this has an amazing trine to Pluto officially as of today. This transit brings connections that start off with conversation. There could be something deep or transformative or therapeutic about this, but it is deep, intense, passionate, regenerating relationships. Something if you are with a loved one or maybe female bonding. It's very powerful love. And the interplay of even Beauty and the Beast. I know that Bieber song is very popular now. It came back surface, and it's Beauty and the Beast. Well, that is that Venus sitting having relations with Pluto. Okay. Now, this is very magnetic. This is very mentally stimulating, especially when it comes to anything dealing with love and aesthetics and fashion and beauty or any connections. Venus in Gemini, it loves to communicate. It loves to flirt. I'm winking. Also is very curious. Pluto in Aquarius is very deep. There's transformation, there's power, there's influence with the collective, with the people, with technology, with social media, any forms of communication, or maybe when you're on an airplane. You meet that love interest, he just lands in your lap, or she just comes into your life, okay? But it's effortless attraction, deep connections, a lot of deep conversations, a lot of creative bonds. Well, deep conversations that create a bond, a lot of magnetic attraction, like intense chemistry, transformative relationships, power through words. Social events is what Venus represents. So if you are going to do anything social today, I would say attend it. Mind you, we've been feeling this for a few weeks, like a week. So networking that actually matters, deeper magnetic interactions, very strategic social moves, anything dealing with socializing. If you're at a party, go ahead and deal with those things, because you're being aligned with certain groups that really work for you in your future. For as any female energy, you could have like a powerful female connection, or maybe there's a female energy. My mom just called me out of the blue and wanted to talk for a very long time. Very Venus trine Pluto, okay? Very transformative. Friendships too. And if you're on a team, Venus does represent team. So there's power with the team. Venus represents money and value. So money through communication, money through social media, through speaking, through writing, any form of communication, or maybe even a text message that you get, and there's some finances that you naturally attract. A very strategic financial connection, power moves when it comes to money. You're making smarter or more intentional financial decisions. Okay, so this is a very clear communicative energy, because you are talking about Gemini, and Venus attracts that communication with the female energy, or with the team, or something that deals with fashion or aesthetics. Anytime Pluto's involved, it gets a little obsessed. So people who are very obsessed, this energy could work really well with them being obsessed with a female. So be aware of that. Now, collectively around the world, this is something with social media, and maybe this social media group or company can really thrive with some power moves or manipulating through social media. That can definitely happen. Pluto is in charge of our psychology and our mental energy. Mental is Mercury, but psychology, I'm trying to think of psychological is what I was trying to say. Our psychological influence, and we could be influenced through media, or maybe there's some manipulation there, but it works. Anyone who's trying to manipulate, it's the time, okay? Any type of technology, communication breakthroughs, like a new app, a new feature, a new platform, anything dealing that's very futuristic, very AI, very digital communication, major announcements. If you want to learn anything new AI and it just lands on your lap, this is it. This is why, okay? And this has been going on since Venus has been in Gemini, and that has been since April 24th. Was it before then? Yeah, since April 24th. So if you are having that, that is why. If you cannot comprehend why, maybe you've been attracted to AI or anything dealing with technology wise. Yeah. So that is what we have for today. Now, on the 29th, which you're already feeling as well, you could be a little lost in the sauce, okay? Personally, I had someone who I did their astrology, and they're like, what about this way of doing astrology? And I was like, that's interesting. But naturally, I feel like that may not be the best for me. In my future and how I want to do things. Well, that is what this energy is. Venus is a female friend who seems very smart, or a female entity, or a female energy, and they're very intellectual, or they're thinking outside of the box. But there's something clashing with your future, and that is the North Node retrograding in Pisces. Something not working well, or something not working with you just using your intuition, okay, as well. So these two things, it's got a T square happening with the North Node and the South Node. The North Node in Pisces is about Venus is about relationships and communication, and talking and dating and options and being curious about that. And that North Node in Pisces is going to make your destiny, your intuition, your spiritual growth, things that you're supposed to be letting go, right? There's something not working there with that. So you could be at a crossroads. You could be, because Venus and Gemini is very curious. It's like, oh, look over here. Look at all the options you have. And that North Node is like, but are you trusting your intuition? Is this aligned with what you really believe? Or is this a distraction? Okay. So be aware of that because you could be having some mixed signals. And I say astrology because that's dead on what's happening to me or happened to me when this once this hit. Once Venus came into Gemini, but well, not Gemini. Once Uranus came into Gemini, is what happened to me. But so I'm saying Uranus represents astrology too. But if you're not an astrologer, this could represent a network, a friendship group, anything dealing with socializing, anything dealing with air, because we are talking about little air, or just the intellect. Okay, this is a higher octave of Mercury. Mercury, if you know Mercury, when they say Mercury retrogrades, it's very high with socializing. Okay, but you're choosing between paths, and this is something that you are could be dealing with the future, of course, or something that's very out of the box, but there is a clash here happening. Something you could be overthinking, or maybe there's karmic connections that could be resurfacing because this could be a relationship, a friendship. Questioning your values also is what you can have. Setting for surface level connections, maybe being distracted by what you're not aligned to do, ignoring the red flags because the conversation feels so good, feels so stimulating, making decisions based on convenience as well. So be aware of that. Again, Venus represents all things that are social. So there could be a lot of scattered energy. Because the North Node is what we're supposed to be destined to do, what we're meant to do, and the South Node is supposed to be what we're releasing. And this harmony, this balance, this social group, this female energy or this creative energy is be calling you to be off balance, or it's sending you some mixed signals. So just be aware of that. Also, too, I said this represents female energy. Some two-faced flip-floppers. Gemini represents flip-flopper energy. Yeah, also too, Venus is what we naturally attract, and it could represent money. So there could be something financially here that's a little bit off. Okay, in the sign Gemini, that will be like you're getting money through some communicative form, and it's off. Okay, or someone saying, oh, you should do this, it's really different, it's really unique, or it's through AI. All you have to do is just text this number, and it's like, but it doesn't feel quite right. Okay, misaligned messaging, social media confusion, relationships. There's a crossroad. There's logic versus intuitive energy, and you're battling that, and it's being communicated. Okay. There's financial misjudgment. So be aware of that. That is already energy that you are feeling. Now, let's talk about what the big elephant in the room is, and that is the full moon in Scorpio. Actually, let me put this chart up officially. So this is what we have for the full moon, and the full moon in Scorpio is going to be 11 degrees. We'll talk about that, but any type of full moon in May is going to celebrate abundance. It's going to be having people that you love around you and surrounded by loved ones. It demonstrates your passion for things you love and feeds that fire flame. Okay, this moon is also called the couple's moon. It's called the flower moon, and it's called the moon of the return of the frogs. This moon is also about opening and encounters. Any moon during May. Now, this full moon in Scorpio is going to happen in LA time because I'm in Los Angeles at 10:23 a.m. Okay. Any rituals that I've discussed about this full moon, try to do it the day before. So try to do it Thursday. Okay. And May 1st, too. Wow. Also, don't forget to charge your crystals. I have to remind you because I need to remind myself. Okay. This full moon doesn't just reveal the truth, it forces you to act on it. The moon rules any moon. I mean, not any moon. The moon itself, it rules your feelings, your instincts, your emotional needs, your mother, your inner energy. Okay. The nighttime. Scorpio energy is very intense, it's very private, it's very transformative. And you put those together, you got not very surface level energy, you got that soul level energy. It's about what you feel. And that's why I don't like Scorpio full moons, because it's all about intensity and full deepness and no surface level. Even though I am a Scorpio moon, I love to be deep. But that full moon in Scorpio always takes it there, okay? Emotional extremes, holding on to pain, jealousy, possessiveness, testing people emotionally is what you get with this. Also, there's always something dealing with transformation, okay? When you deal with Scorpio energy, you're also dealing with the eighth house. They're very connected. And when you have eight placements in the eighth house, there's always like surgery and a transformation, or like transgender, literally transgender kind of energy. But Scorpio energy is about death, it's about rebirth, it's about endings, it's about beginnings, it's about fear because there's some betrayal. There is a need for emotional security, very defensive, very protective. Because your emotions could be feeling unsafe when there's a Scorpio full moon. Let me see, but it could be revealing something anytime you have the full moon. Now, this full moon in Scorpio, the Scorpio energy is ruled by two planets. The traditional planet is Mars. The modern planet is Pluto. Mars is in the sign. In the sign Aries. Mars is about passion, anger, and reactivity. Pluto, again, that obsession, that transformation, that control energy. And now Mars is in Aries. It's at home in Aries. So that means it's extra bold, okay? It's extra impulsive. It's very action orientated. So this full moon could bring a lot of confrontations, decisions, or taking action after emotions are realized. Also, too, Mars is sitting in between Saturn and Mercury, so discussing it, communicating it, at the same time being very serious, or there's a father figure hovering over you. And it deals with your emotions as well. Anytime you have a full moon, too, you have the opposition between the masculine and the feminine. You have the father figure and the mother figure. You have the man and a woman. You have the internal and the external. Okay. It can't see eye to eye. Now, Pluto is also the ruler of Scorpio energy. So that means it's in charge of also this moon. And Pluto's in the sign of Aquarius. You are dealing with collective power, technology, influence, social media, also communication as well. Again, so those aspects could be dealing with your intense emotions. You could be dealing with a group, or you could be dealing with something that's very futuristic, or you could be like power to the people and you're like doing a rebellion and there's a lot of emotions involved. Okay. So that is what's happening. I did not look at anyone else's chart with this. But before I even get into like Trump and everyone else, before I take a glance, first let me tell you, this full moon is sextile. Ooh, the south node. It's also trining the north node. So things that we are destined to do and we can release and let go is great during this full moon. So whatever the transformation that's going to happen, there is going to be very intuitive spiritual guides that are naturally going to work with you with this emotional energy. Also too, it is sextile square. It is squaring Pluto. We'll get into that. But first, I wanted to say that Pluto is also sextile all of these energies here. And since Pluto is the ruler, there is this energy that if you want to put in the hard work, if you want to use your intuition, if you want to have the drive, there is that during this full moon in Scorpio. Being very disciplined, having reality check, having a purpose, having a direction, having an action. Now, whenever we have a full moon, it is like the climax. It's the zenith. Like we're at the peak. This is where ish hits the fan, right? So there is this awakening that happens. Pluto in Aquarius is also trining this air energy. So there's sudden relationship shifts. There's also like a freedom of being that strong female energy. Unexpected conversations, a lot of social media involved here, a lot of transformations in relationships, a lot of intensity, therapy. When it comes to having some harmony and balance, this also could represent law because Venus represents law. But shifts in public narratives create sudden connections, maybe a breakup, but it's for the best here. Because that's trining there. But the full moon in Scorpio is also not just trining this energy, it has this beautiful triangle here. Also, it has this energy with Jupiter. very positive. Jupiter is a planet, a benefic planet, and it's huge. And it's in Cancer. There's a lot of emotional support, healing. The moon is the ruler of Cancer, so it's working really well. A lot of protective energy, feeling emotionally secure. Even though that Scorpio moon doesn't feel secure, doesn't trust anyone, Jupiter is here to say, come on, we can trust, especially when you're at home and where you're at a place that feels safe, and when you're with loved ones. Now, it is squaring at Pluto. Now, this one is the part that's interesting to me. The ruler, it is squaring, it's not getting along. Power struggles, control issues, emotional pressure. Maybe there's some tensions in some relationships. Maybe this is, do I have control? Do I have freedom? I mean, am I being controlled? Do I have freedom? Emotional breakthroughs, too. Now this is at so this one is a big doozy. This one is a positive doozy. This one is positive. We got more positive than negative. I do want you to understand that, but that Pluto is working with this energy. We tie it all together. It makes a very interesting sauce, okay? Because Pluto is positive with Uranus and Venus. It's not positive with the emotions. Okay. So there's something there positive with the female relationships who is very highly intellectual, but are who's very weird and out of the box and quirky. But you're at a weird, quirky party and everything seems fine, but your emotions are not quite sitting right because someone's a little bit controlling. So it's almost like this controlling aspect, this controlling person is really great, and you don't feel safe emotionally. Okay. Or you don't trust the situation because that Scorpio, the investigation, boy, is high. But look, following that intuition, go with your gut. During the Scorpio full moon, it is at 11 degrees. 11 degrees is a Aquarius degree. That is things that are very weird, unexpected, surprises. It also deals with detachment, not wanting to be emotional. So someone could not be emotional and they're treating you like you're too emotional kind of energy. Aquarius energy also is very collective, a lot of people, a lot of networks, a group, organization. It also represents science, astrology in the future. Maybe there's a sudden realization, things happen suddenly. Maybe the truth comes out unexpectedly. Maybe emotions shift quickly because Aquarius moves really fast. So collectively with this we can see a lot of emotional truths being revealed, because this Pluto energy likes to keep things hidden and be very secretive, and it's no longer hidden. Okay, in the sign Scorpio, these are things that you deal with that's very taboo. It's almost like if someone has an addiction of something that's very taboo. We won't say what it is, that you look on the internet and you don't want anyone to see it and you have secrets, and this could be revealing of that as well, and it really works for a female who's very intellectual, but they're investigating you, okay, or you are vice versa. That could be happening. Also, too, Pluto with emotions, it deals with some power dynamics, control issues, some power struggles, major conversations that are triggering. That's very transformative, but it hits the fan, okay? So you could be having an emotional breakthrough. Maybe someone's confronting you, maybe someone's intimidating you, maybe the secret is being revealed. Okay, so you have that as well. Let me tell you some rituals you could do when you have a Scorpio full moon. The theme of this is about releasing, it's about the truth, it's about transformation, it's about taking action. This isn't a soft full moon. This is a cut off. This is a face it. This is a transform it. Especially with Mars being the ruler and Mars in Aries, Pluto in Aquarius. This is all about letting go. This is also about communicating and have intensity with some communications. So when you have this, when you're doing the Scorpio full moon and you want to do some rituals, you want to release and maybe write things down. Not maybe, write things down, because communication is very strong with this full moon. Write what you are done with, write what you need healing with, write what feels toxic or draining, or if something is being controlling or you are being obsessive with someone, patterns, people, or habits that keep repeating. You need to be honest, you need to be deep, and write it down and release it. Okay. Now usually you can burn it, but I would say flush it down the toilet. Because you're dealing with water energy, tear it up and throw it away. You could do that. If you're by the water, you could put it in an ocean. That would even be better. Scorpio energy is like lake, water, ocean kind of thing. So that, just release it. You could do like a cord cutting, cleansing kind of energy. Maybe take a shower and say all the negative things before you cleanse off. And then after the shower, after you rinse off, then that helps. Showers are the best thing. It regenerates it. It gives me energy. I was regenerized. That's not the word. But it gives me energy. But maybe there is an energy that you want clean. So say it, say how you feel about it, be real about it, be honest about it, and take a shower and rinse it away. Picture it going down the drain. You can actually do that. Maybe it's about your ex. Maybe it's about a draining relationship. Maybe a weird relationship. Maybe you have obsessive thoughts. Maybe there's some emotional attachments. Whatever it is, Scorpio rules the deep bonds and the unhealthy ones too, and you can release that. Okay. You could do this with a bath. You don't have to do it with a shower. Maybe take a bath and put some Epsom salt in, maybe some essential oils that will work really good. I'm trying to think of some essential oils. Don't quote me on the essential oil. You can use essential oils, research it because, if you're dealing with the private area, it gets very sensitive there. But put some essential oils in there to release the energy and cleanse the energy about forgiving and releasing things that no longer work for you or it's not supposed to be with you. Okay. What else? Because Mars is the ruler of this energy, you could take some action. You can work out, and while you're working out, say you're no longer going to do this like a boxing class kind of energy. Maybe you can take action in the closing of whatever it is you're trying to do, like maybe send the actual message to confront someone in a nice positive way to release. Maybe you need to make that decision and do something special when making the decision, because Mars in Aries being the ruler of this and communicating that will help. Maybe you need to set some boundaries because it's sitting next to Saturn. That will be helping. Maybe you need to start something new or start something that deals with the individual or the self, or be a little selfish because Mars is in Aries. So you need to do that before. Say you're going to do it, write it down. That is also a ritual. Also, just speaking the truth. Scorpio energy is all about the truth, and Aquarius energy is all about communicating it. So major speaking the truth for sure. Intuitive energy, use it. You could do card readings, tarot reading the day before. That would work too. Any type of power control, where you feel out of control, where you're giving your power away, where things need to change and transform. Write that down, release it, and there you go. And always pray. Okay. Don't ignore your emotions. Don't avoid difficult conversations. Don't hold on to what's clearly ending. Okay. Try to be nice though. Try not to be too intense. Ugh. Venus is also sextile these planets here. So while this planet is the ruler of the full moon, Venus, and it's trying this energy is also sextile here. So anything that you want to put action towards, think long term, or set boundaries, or use your intuition, 100% will work. 100% will work. Okay, because you are now releasing things, and what you want to work hard for, your harmony and balance, would definitely work if you put into action, if you set the boundaries, if you think long term, if you're serious, if you're thinking about details, and you're using compassion and love and your intuition. Okay. So that is what we have for the full moon. Let me pull a card for the full moon. We'll pull some cards. Okay. Some of the cards that I have. Hold up, wait a minute. For the Scorpio full moon, we have abundance and thinking about what you have and showing off what you have, right? Also, a lot of people thinking in lack. So there are people, there could be jealousy here with this Scorpio full moon. So be aware of that. Also, feeling like you're the victim. It's all in your head. You're making it up. Okay. You need to see the reality, and you need to get out of that dream because it's fake. It's an illusion. There's about big energy about your ego and your strength and your creativity and compassion, and the compassion is your strength. Okay, being loving and creative is your strength. Also, we have this, staying strong, not giving up. Persevering, okay? Even when you feel wounded, even if you're like, I have a headache, you're driving me insane, I'm physically tired of this. Well, you got to stay strong. Okay. That is what we have for this Scorpio full moon. Now let's pull up Mercury and what we have for Mercury entering Taurus. Okay, Mercury enters Taurus on the May 2nd, right after the full moon. So we have the full moon. Also, too, during that full moon, we also have Mercury. Is it at 29 degrees? Oh, good. It's not at 29 degrees. That's good. Anyway, so Mercury enters in late of May 2nd. It enters Taurus. When Mercury enters Taurus, it's no longer about fast ideas because that's what happened in Aries and being selfish and impulsive. People are going to be thinking slow. They're going to be talking slow. It's about actually what works and what lasts. Okay. Mercury is the planet of communication, speaking, texting, any type of messages. Okay. It is how we think. It is our thought process. It's our mindset. It is a planet of early learning and early education. It is a planet of information exchange. It's writing, book reading, any type of social media, any type of content, any type of emails. Mercury is the ruler of our neighbors, our community, our siblings, our or no R. I get R and or our everyday interactions. Also, to our short travel. It is the planet of commerce, and meaning that when you buy something, that is a transaction. Any type of trade, that is Mercury. Mercury is also in charge of the pranksters, which is very annoying. Mercury is in charge of decision making and perception and interperception. Right now, Taurus is what Mercury is going to enter, and Taurus alone is the energy of stability, what we value. It is an earth sign, so it deals with tangible things. So the physical world, it is about money, finances, security, self-worth, luxury, material comfort. It is about food, pleasure, all of the senses. Okay. Like you want to be in the blanket, you want to have some pancakes, you want to have whatever your comfort food is. But it's very slow, it's very steady. It likes to have growth, but it's very steady with it. It's very consistent. It likes a routine, like all earth signs. Very possessive. It likes to own things. It is probably in charge, not probably, it's in charge of the hoarder energy, but very nature, going outside, taking in the beautiful aesthetics that are naturally nature. And also, there is resistance to change when you're dealing with Taurus. Taurus is the most fixed, stubborn sign of all signs. Now, when Mercury enters Taurus, you start to think slow, you start to have more deliberate decisions. You're not as argumentative with Mercury in Taurus. You're more calculated. There's conversations about money, about finances, about the banks, about the stocks. You're focused on long-term stability over quick wins. You're practical. You're realistic. You're speaking with more intentions. There's some strong opinions, very stubborn opinions. It's hard to change people's mind when you have Mercury in Taurus. A lot of planning around security, around your home, around your income, around your resources. Business contracts, they're usually around finances and what you value and stability. Sensory thinking. Again, does the food smell good? Does it look good? Does it taste good? Is it beautiful? Am I comfortable? That kind of energy. I need a nap before I decide. It's very Mercury and Taurus. Show me the results mindset versus the ideas. Mercury and Taurus is whenever we're dealing with Taurus energy, we do get the evidence, physical evidence. So let's see what Mercury and Taurus stirs up, especially when there's a cazimi, and that means when Mercury touches the sun. Okay. Let me see what else we have. Oh, for us, mundane astrology, for the collective, get ready for things in the news, because whenever Mercury changes a sign, then this is what we see in the news. Good, big things on finances, on what we value. We could be seeing more about oil and gold and the banks and finances and stocks, inflation, prices of cost of living, again, banking, interest rates and stability. A lot of economic and consumer, a lot of essentials being discussed, like what is the essential over luxury, being more practical, less impulsive energy. So maybe Trump will slow down. Okay. This is big on agriculture and food and resources and farming, so that could be in the headlines. Anything dealing with business and contracts is going to be more long term, more negotiations that take a lot of time and they move really slow. This also could be dealing with real estate and property, because this is what people value. The media tone is going to shift into more practical energy, less about the hype and less about anger and fighting and aggressiveness, but more about physical evidence and showing that as well. A lot of stubborn narratives, though. A lot of people stuck in the way that they think, in the way that they talk, and you're going to see that in the headlines. Also, in the headlines, you will see more long term planning because we're leaving this quick action energy. That's what we're in currently. So that would change, while these planets are in Aries. That's why you get all the gun violence. That's why you get all of the what just happened to Trump? Trying to assassinate, people being immune to that though, because of Aries energy, because Saturn's in Aries, Mercury's in Aries, all these planets are in Aries, which I've said several times, like, watch out, here we go. But once Mercury enters Taurus, that starts to shift that energy and takes it off balance, because these planets all in Aries is just like a little bit too much for me, okay? Especially if you're a fixed signs. Now, if Oh, also, I didn't say this Scorpio full moon will be affecting all my Scorpios who are in early degree. The Scorpio full moon is going to be affecting all of my Tauruses who are in around 11 degrees. The Scorpio full moon is also going to really affect all the fixed signs. So, my Aquarius early degrees, you're already feeling this because Pluto's sitting there, but you are going to be feeling this even more. And the Scorpio full moon is also going to be affecting all of my Leos as well, around 11 degrees. You have to check your chart and see what planet is there. Now, the Scorpio full moon is going to work with all my water signs, all my Pisces, Cancers. Going to work well for you. Okay. Now, Mercury in Taurus is what I was talking about, and the Scorpio full moon made me think of it. But Mercury in Taurus is going to work really. The people who are going to feel it the strongest are my Taurus energy. Either you're going to be talking more, thinking more, being able to break down and analyze things more, but you would 100% be affected by Mercury in Taurus. People are talking about you more, all that. A lot of aha clarity happening for you, Tauruses, but also very positive for all my earth signs, all my Capricorns, and all of my Virgos. Positive for you. Mercury in Taurus doesn't really work well with my Leos and Scorpios. There is also opposition to, I mean, not Scorpios, but yeah, it doesn't work well with Scorpios, but Leos and Aquarius doesn't work well with you. But there is an opposition to all of my Scorpios too. Okay. So let's talk about Mercury while it's in Taurus, what it's going to be doing. First thing, once it enters Taurus, it's going to trine the South Node, which is great. Once it enters Taurus, there's going to be a huge energy of releasing, maybe revisiting old ideas or plans or things that are past knowledge, and relying on that. Things are going to be very easy, not depending on it or being able to let things go. Mercury on the 5th is going to officially square Pluto. But once Mercury enters Pluto, you're going to feel this. So there's an energy of being positive with releasing imperfections, but then also too there's this huge energy of transformation, deep conversations, or controlling. A lot of intense conversations, a lot of power struggles, a lot of obsessive thoughts. This is what's going to happen collectively. Let's see how this plays out in the public media. Yeah, maybe let's see some power issues here. Maybe with the banks, okay? Future energy with the banks, or what our money or the economy is going to look like. 5 represent leader-ish kind of energy. So let's see what the president has to say. Okay. But this is very manipulation, stubborn arguments, a very mental fixation kind of energy. On the 14th of May, Mercury moves fast, and it will be on a Kazemi. Kazemi means that it will sit at the heart of the sun. This is when something that the hardcore evidence will come out. You have that. There's clarity moment. This is a realization about our banking system, about our money, about what we value, about stability, about clear decisions, about breakthrough when it comes to anything dealing with what we value. Also, too, the ruler of Venus. I mean, the ruler of Taurus, while it's in Taurus, is Venus, and Venus is very talkative right now. Okay. So, a lot of communication across the board. Get ready for the podcasters, the news, journalists, books, or anything. All that is going to be very informative for all this. So, we will get something that's going to be said on the 17th. Mark my words. Let's see what else. Mercury conjunct on the 17th. Okay, so then on the 17th, Mercury will enter Gemini and the conversation will shift. It is the ruler of Gemini, so a lot of socializing, a lot of communication. And once it enters Gemini, get ready for it sitting close to um, Uranus. So, sudden news, shocking conversations, a lot of breakthrough thinking, a lot of unexpected messages. The news is going to be coming out of nowhere this day. A lot of rapid, fast energy here. So, get ready for that. But overall, while it's in Taurus, I do want you to know while Mercury's in Taurus this week and going on, it's a lot of slow thinking, a lot of grounded decisions, a lot of focus on stability. Pluto is involved here. So there is some intensity. Maybe there's a secret that's going to be revealed about the banking system, about some finances or what we value. Maybe we'll get some clarity about that, and they don't want that. That could be a possibility. Or the people who are very controlling, they know how to manipulate. So that's being said through the media, through the banking system as well. So, yeah, that is what we have. And then May 4th, lastly, May 4th. Oh, it was already on May 4th. Then we have Mars in the sign Aries, and it's going to square Jupiter. You're already going to be feeling this as I am saying this. So, this is already the heads up. The transit turns small reactions into big consequences. Okay. You're overreacting with your anger, okay? Maybe at home. This is big energy, big emotions, big reactions. Mars in Aries, it wants to act now. It wants to be aggressive. It wants you to be aggressive, impulsive, fast. And Jupiter in Cancer makes everything personally sensitive and amplified, okay? You're feeling it and you want a reaction kind of energy. Actions and emotion is very instant, it's very fast. It's you're reacting before you're really thinking. A lot of emotional triggers, big arguments at home, at the family, or with the past, or dealing with your mom. Arguments with your family, or a lot of misunderstandings at home. Doing too much. Jupiter likes to do it all. Mars in Aries is going to be very impulsive and say yes. Okay. So, also, too, this could be standing up for yourself, and there's a lot of emotions and its sensitivity towards this. Watch out for overreacting, arguments escalating, making big decisions in a moment, and taking things too personal. Pause before you react. Move your body, take it out by working out. Think long term before acting because Aries energy likes to think short term. Express yourself, but you have to have some psychological awareness while doing it. Okay. Now, globally, what we can see is a lot of conflict happening because that's what this energy represents, especially Jupiter and Cancer in your homeland. That could be happening. A lot of domestic and family related tensions, emotional reactions in the media, people maybe being sensitive or not sensitive at all. Is what we see in the news. Overconfident and risk taking, moral and emotional justifications. This also represents law too. So there could be some aggression in court buildings and law, anything where people are trying to have not justice, but laws, regulations that could be happening as well. Okay, so that is what we have for the week. Let me pull some cards for us and what we have for the week. I really, whenever I do these weekly videos, I'm really just explaining the energy that you're currently feeling. If you want the more predictive, I will look at the monthly astrology. I should kind of do this like a week before. That's what I should do. But here we are. This is what we have for you. Okay. You, personally, you. We have the Queen of Machetes. This is someone who is thinking with compassion. You're being charitable with your thoughts and your words. You're talking with love and compassion. You are giving the gift of your voice as well. That happens this week. Ace of Pentacles. Ooh, God's giving you opportunities when it comes to all the finances. That's that Mercury in Taurus. Okay. God's giving you the opportunities this week when it comes to your home, when it comes to anything tangible, money, a job. Who doesn't love that blessing? Also, we have the Three of Machetes. We have heartbreak. This is something from your past. But yeah, your heart is hurt. Your physical heart, are literally the emotions of your heart is being hurt with words and your thoughts as well. We have a lot of closure happening for you, but it's great. It's success. This is like very Saturn energy. You worked really hard, and now the success is showing. That is what we have for you this week. Now, collective, what do we have for this week? Look, we have something going on with a leader. Okay, that's very Aries energy, and that is a leader, and he's being boastful. Okay, the leader is being boastful, and the Hierophant, it's traditions, it's religion, boastful about religion or traditions or wisdom, or with the key of knowledge. Let's see what happens with the president or something. Yeah, King of Brooms again, leadership. This week, strong emphasis on leaders, strong emphasis on the king, strong emphasis on yeah, even it makes me think of literally the Pope because that's the Hierophant. Yeah, but someone's braggadocious happening this week. It could be positive for any leader this week, but that is what we have globally. A lot of leaders. This is a leader. This is a leader. No, this is three leaders. Okay, three leaders. So yeah, more president, any religious leader, big themes with them this week. All right. So that is what we have. Next video is going to be on the monthly astrology. I haven't done JD Vance and Trump yet, and I need to do that. I have the notes for it, just haven't done it. But so look out for that. But I know for a fact that I have to do the monthly astrology because the month is about to close out. All right. So that will be the very next video. The next time you see me, I will see you guys are here. You will hear me in the next video. And oh wait, I have a comment before I leave. Oh, hello, Sandra. Hello. Thank you for being here and listening. And I will see you or hear from you in the next video. All right. Bye.